So we can see that, so we are running this information. So now we converted the values and we reconverted to valid. Here we can see that origin point. So this is the point value. If you open it, you can see that 0 0, and the size value we can see that 100 by 100, and rect value we can see that origin and size. It's a combination. If you want to retrieve the same values from this ns value, then we can retrieve and we can store it in the same. So I'm displaying those details. So we can see that this is like origin point x and y, size, width, and from the frame we retrieved origin x value and we displayed it. These are the certain values. All are float data types, so I used data formatter %f. So these are the two wrapper classes which are available in objectveC to convert a normal number data or rectangular or core graphics related properties into a valid objects. And apart from that, we have one more classes like ns decimal. We can see that there is a ns decimal number class. It's one of the immutable subclass of ns number. As I said, all ns number subclasses we can treat it as like a wrapper classes. So here ns decimal number is one of the subclass and it's one of the wrapper classes, we can say that. For example, if you pass some float value, so how many precisions we want, so those kind of details we can display. We can tell you that the ns number and all when we work with the date and other properties. So this is the basic wrapper classes we use in objectveC. Before going to the collections, just work with strings. So strings we have when we want to work with character data, collection of characters, so we use strings in objectveC. We have a class called strings. We use class called strings. Strings means we can say like it's a collection of character data. So the strings are having two classes. There are mutable strings immutable strings. They are the two classes. So the mutable strings and immutable strings, before to going that, there are mutable objects and immutable objects. In objectveC we have two types of objects. One is mutable, one is immutable. So when we talk about mutable objects, so the mutable objects is like we can say it's like one memory location. For example, this is the object, it's a memory location. So I have a value like ABC. So if it is a mutable object, if this is a mutable object, I want to add string def. So then these both strings will be saved in same location. Means this is the address. Previously I have some value. I want to modify this value either by adding or by deleting some existing characters or some updating, some replacing the characters. You can do some operation, either insert or you can update or you can delete the content from the memory. So we can do that. all these operations are effects in the same memory address. So those objects will call like a mutable objects. In terms, we can say the objects mutable objects allows data modifications in its memory. So whatever the memory is occupied or referred by that object, so if you want to do some operations on that, so it will do those operations. When it's come to immutable objects, so if there is an address, if let's take the same example, if this is a mutable, then if you want to change the content, so we cannot change the content, then it will creates another memory location. So whatever the I want to change this, so I want to add some more strings, so it will add some more strings and it will create a new memory location. So now your previous value is in one memory address, the new operation and the resultant value will stored in a different location. So it means immutable objects doesn't allow to change the data modification in its memory. So here allows the data changes in the same memory address, but once coming to immutable objects, doesn't allows the data modification in its memory. This is the basic the difference between immutable objects and immutable objects. For strings, we have two classes. One is like mutable strings and one is immutable strings. So in objectveC, the API class to refer the strings is NSString. As I said, NS is the next step. NSString, it's a immutable class. NS mutable string, it's a mutable class. NS string is a mutable class. NS mutable string is a mutable class. When coming to NS string, so we can create NS string. Let's take a syntax. So how to create a NS string object? So NS string is a subclass for NS object, and when we create a NS string object, you can create a NS string object. This is my reference. NS string alloc init. So this is the memory location which allocates for the string. This is empty string. Empty string. This is like a syntax. If you can say like string alloc init, which allocates the memory and initialize the memory. This is the one way. Or else we can do the same string memory allocation by using the same empty string by calling new. And we can initialize a string with another string, or else we can initialize a string creating a string welcome. So now we can see that NS string, this is the reference pointer. So the strings will be represented in double quotations, but these double quotations should start with the directive @directive. Here @directive with double quotation. So this is the syntax for a constant string declaration. So whatever the data or characters we want to add, all the characters will be placed. This is like a string. Now this is one empty string. If you want to add some characters, we can add the characters between quotations. So these quotations should be prefixed with @ character. So then this considered as like a constant string. This is constant string, and we can initialize the string. A string is having different instance methods and as well as class methods while we create any string object. So we can initialize a string with another string content. And a string alloc init with on constant string. So this allocates a memory address and it stores the value welcome. So at the next line, if I say India, so for example, if I specify something like this, then str will allocate memory for welcome, that is separate. When I initialize this object, so this object will have welcome, and when I added India, so it's create another memory location, and this will be one reference. Str is refers to welcome. When it comes to second statement, so when I add another object, string object to str, the reference previously str is refers to this address. But when I change the value, it's go for another constant and it loses the reference to this previous address. This reference will get disconnected and this str will refers to another string, constant string. But it won't do any changes for the existing memory. The existing memory will be there as it is, and it will allocate the new memory location and it will keep the memory another data. Here we are overriding, here we are not overriding, just we are changing the reference. So now here the str is referred to this memory address. When we assign a new string directly, then the reference will be changed from this location to this location. So that will happen, but it's not a data override. When str equal to India, then it won't replace the welcome with India. It will create a new memory address altogether, and the reference will be changed from previous location to another location. So that will happen. That is the meaning of these two statements. So your compiler will give a different scenario for every operation which we do on strings. So string operation, this is like basic creation of a string, and the string operations we can do, there are different operations the string is having. String operations, like first thing, finding length of the string. Finding length of the string, it means calculating total number of characters in a string. And the second one, retrieving a specific character from the string based on the index value. They are the two operations. So for finding a length, we use method gth. So int length is str. This method will returns you an integer which gives a count, the total number of characters in that string. And we have another method like finding a character at a specific index value. Now char ch str character at index. So here we can give some index value. So the index values will start. For example, now the string is India. So if you split this total string to chunks like you can add the characters. Now the total number of characters are, this is like your indexes, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So overall 5 locations. The indexes starts from 0 to n minus 1. So when I ask like character at index 0, so it returns the character which is located in the 0 index. So when I find the length, so it will count the total number of characters in the string. So it returns that length. And apart from that, we usually checks like different operations. Replacing a character with other character, or replacing a string with other string, and removing white spaces from the string, or you can say that trimming white spaces from the string, capital or small or capitalized string conversions, and concatenation of strings, and we can do many more operations with strings like substrings, creating substrings. These are different operations we can do with the strings. When we perform these operations on a string class, let's say I want to replace the characters or concatenating the characters. So now I have string. So we'll see that all the operations, what are, we have all methods. So the NS string API class is having various methods. These methods will do all these operations. So if you want to replace one character with another character, we can do that directly. We have some available methods. If you want to substring, or if you want to get a substring, so we can get some substring from the string, that we can do that. And apart from that, we do with string operations like converting primitive data types to string objects. It means int, float, double, char, long, or any primitive data type to string conversion, and vice versa. We can do these things like, we call these are like a string formatters, string formation. So these are the string formation operations we have. We have and this is like string formations, formatting a string. So for that we have a, if I want to convert integer to string, so how to do this I will tell you. And we have a class called ns mutable string. So mutable string is a subclass for ns string. It's a subclass for ns string, and we can do the operations. So what ns string is doing, the all operations can be performed by the ns mutable string as well, but only the difference is the difference between immutable objects and mutable objects. Here if you do any operation with ns string, each operation will make one new memory location, but whereas ns mutable string will use the same memory address. Either the address will get extended, or else the values which there in that specific address will get changed, but it won't create any new memory allocations. It uses the same memory address to do all the string manipulation operations on it. But once a string object is created, if you want to delete some characters from the same memory address, that we cannot do. So there is no way to delete the characters from an existing memory address. If you want to create a new string, so by removing those characters, it creates a new memory address, and we can use that another memory address, but we cannot use that existing address for any string manipulations in with ns string class. But the same thing we can do with ns mutable strings. Let's see an example. What are the methods? So with ns string and ns mutable string is having. Now we can see that this is like a single view template. So the string, I created one class like string.h. So string 1. So here we can see that, as I said, in .h I declared one str reference. So creating an immutable object. So this will make one constant string. This address is different. So if I want to display, the ns log itself is having a string. So your string syntax will be like this. All whatever the characters, if you want to add, you can add it. So this is the empty string. The strings will start with @ and followed by double quotations and ends with double quotation. This is the string. So now we have three characters wants to convert as a string. So we placed all these three characters between the quotations. So this is a string. So I want to display a string on console. So in C language we use printf. In objectveC we have a method called nslog. So nslog is having a string formatter and followed by the objects. So I want to convert one object to string. So we should use %@. If I want to format or convert one integer to string, I should use %I or %D. This converts an integer to string. If I want to convert a float to string, we have to use %F. If it is double, the %LF. If there is any object which needs to be converted to string, so we should use %@. So these are the string formatters. So we use these formatters when we want to convert one another data type to string data type or string object. So nslog is contains a string. So if I want to bind another string value, so then you can bind with a formatter %@. So if you want to display directly string, constant string, you can place that string whatever you want to display in the console between double quotations. So creating a new string, str12 is a new string, str is another string, and str12 is another string. So this string I am initializing by using a string with string. This is one of the method. I said there are methods like alloc, init, or new empty string creations. Similarly, ns string is having different methods. If you have a string, so you want to create a new string with an existing string, you can use class method, you can use object method. We have both methods. Object methods are there and class methods is also there. Like string with string, you can convert a string to string. If you have a characters and if you have a length as well, then a string object can be created with characters and length, and we can create a string with constant string. So if we have one constant characters pointer, if we want to convert a constant character pointer to a valid string, we can convert with by using string with utf-8 string method. So this is one of the method. If we have some any other data wants to be converted to string with a format, then we can use string with format. This is another string like localized string format. If the strings are supporting different languages, so like English, France, or French, or German. So if you want to convert those strings into normalized string or on an string object, we can use this localized string with format. So there are different these are the different various methods we use. These are class level methods and we have object level methods. Both methods are available. If we have some binary data that wants to be converted to a string, so we can use a method init with data. So this is like binary data object. If we have directly a bytes of information and length we know and wants to convert a string, then we can use init with bytes. So this is one data object which holds binary information. If you have directly a binary pointer, so which is retrieved from one standard library which written in C language. If you want to convert that C language bytes array into a NS string, we can use init with bytes and total length and specifying and coding standards. So these are the different methods. So all these methods we can find in nsstring.h. This is from foundation framework. Here we can see that which SDK and which framework. The framework is foundation. So inside the foundation, which class it is, nstring.h. So these are all available methods which is written by the Apple. These are all the string methods. So we can see like there are separate methods like nstring is having. So this nstring is inherited from NSL object and NS copying, NS mutable copying, NS secure coding. They are the different APIs. It has been derived from all these APIs. It is having a method, it's like a length. This is read-only method. By using this method, we can get the total number of characters of a string. By using this method, we can get an individual character from the string based on the index value. And we have string extension methods. The string is having some extensions methods like creating a substring from different either from index or to index or range, or getting the characters, or comparing two strings for equal comparisons or unequal comparisons. If you want to compare, you have a compare methods. Case sensitive comparison, case insensitive comparison, and equal or unequal strings comparison, and whether the string is having some prefix. If you want to check that whether the string is having a expected prefix or not, or expected suffix or not, so we can check for it. And we can check whether the string is having another string or a specified string or not. So these are different methods which the string class supports. We can, when we convert one double value to string, if you want to get it back, we can use double value. If there is a float value is formatted as a string object, if you want to return back, then we can use float value. So this is like we can convert one primitive data types to string object and string object to primitive data types. We can do that. And if I want to convert a one string to uppercase string, I can use method uppercase string. I can use lowercase string method to get the string to lowercase. If I want to convert a string to capitalized string, I can use localized string, capitalized string. So there are different methods we can see here. These are all string methods. So these are all different nesting methods. So we use that. Here we use some couple of methods. Constant string creation. Later created a string by reading data from another string and displaying that. Empty string creation. Here str is pointing to @124. Here str is pointing to a new string. Now the reference was changed. As I explained earlier, when we assign new data, so this reference earlier str is pointed to welcome. So when str assigned to another string, this reference will be referred to the current string. It loses the previous reference. So that happens when we override or when we reassign a value, it changes the reference location from one memory address to another memory address. And if I want to convert one integer to a string, I can use like alloc init with forward method. So this method will convert one. So I'm converting integer value. So I used %i. So now the 100 is converted as a string object and that will be referred by the str. Here converting float to, and that is referred by str. Here for every operation which we perform on a nesting, it's creating a new memory address that is referred by the str. Since it is an immutable object for every operation, when I assign one string, that is a new address. When I creating a new string, this is a new address. When I'm formatting another, still previously this str is referring to this memory address. But if I do that, it is not reusing this memory. It is creating new memory location here. Alloc means it creates a new memory location, and we are creating with another, we are storing some different value. That memory is referred by this str. For every operation here which we perform on a nesting, so here we want to append two strings. It's like a concatenation. So earlier the str is having some 120.12. So I want to add some more strings to this string. 120.12, hello, how are you? These are the different strings. So this value, whatever the value is referred by the str, that object is concatenated with all these objects, and the total complete value is stored in a different memory address. That memory address is referred by the str. It loses the difference for the previous value and it's give a reference to new memory location which having a value like hello, how are you? So this will happen for every assignment. So it refers from previous memory address to another memory address, but it won't do all these operations from an existing memory. For every operation it creates a new memory location. So let's run this. Now we can see that str is nil now. So when I added, so constant string, we can see that. So I'm displaying that. We can see in console, nslog is display the information on console like printf and c. So let created a new string, and this str12 is having one value 124. These both are constant strings, are referring to the constant address. Now later str is referred to the new memory. It's like empty string. Now I initialized a string with 100. So this is another tagged pointer string, and I'm displaying that. This is another 120.120. So this is another NSCF string. The length of the string, here we are calculating the total number of characters in the string. So the total number of characters 3 plus 3 6. So we will get what is the length of the string is giving total length of the string which str is refers. So we have 120.120000. This is like a overall 3 plus 3 6 plus 7 plus 3 10. Overall total number of characters are 10. So it is giving the total length of the characters. If I want to display, now we can see that this is completely a new string. So this memory address, the previous memory address is different from the latest address. Again the length, you can see that. So now this string is having suffix some space. I want to remove this space. So we can use a method string by trimming characters in set. So this is the one of the API method which is available in string. We use this method if we want to remove the spaces from a string if it is having as a prefix or suffix. Here if you see the whole string suffix is having one space. If I want to remove the spaces which are there as a suffix or a prefix, then we have to use string by trimming characters in set. So this set will specify what we need to remove. Trim means it's like cutting one string and reducing the length. So what characters do I need to reduce? NS character set is one of the class. So this class is nothing but one of the class which holds collection of characters. So it's having one method called white space and new line character set. So means I'm creating one object which holds white spaces and new lines. If these characters are any found in this string as a prefix or suffix, those characters will be trimmed from this string by using this method. So my total length is earlier is 29 characters. After trim, I have some value. So before trim, we can see some space. After trim, there is no space as a suffix. So if I want to display the length, now we can see 28 characters. Previously it's 29, now is 28. So the string by trim characters will do the operation of trimming the characters which we required or which we passed as argument. Here we passed white spaces, trim white spaces. If you give some another string, so it will do that string trimming. So now I want to replace occurrence of a specific string with a different string in this string object. So I used one method like this method will replace L character with A character. So this string is having two L's. These two L characters are replaced with A. See here we have to observe for every operation it creates a new memory address and this latest value will be saved in that address. It won't do the modifications directly within this address which the string is holding. Now str is referring some this address. When I perform the string by replacing occurrence of string, that will store a new value in new address. This address is already existed when after completing this and it will have a new address. So now we can see that here previously hello L characters are replaced with A. So if you want to display, then you can display it. And we can separate a characters. We can separate a string by specifying one string. So I would like to check this string is having any. I'm separating the strings based on the string. I'm separating strings based on the comma. So before the comma this is one string, before the comma this is one string, this is one string and this is one string. So like we have up to here there is one string, after that this is one string, after that this is one string. So it finds the strings which before the comma. So all that will be collectively stored in a different object. So this is a one method. Just remember it. What is this array? I will tell you later. But this is the array like your C language. What arrays is having. So here we are separating a strings from a string. by specifying some specific character, and we are collecting all those strings in a different object. So I want to convert one string. I have a string, so this string might have some capitals or smalls, so I want to convert as a lowercase string. So my total string is in lowercase. I want to convert the total string into uppercase, so I can use uppercase method. Now we can see the total strings are converted into uppercase. Now I want to convert this string as a capitalized. Every word first character should be capital, rest should be smaller. So then I can use capitalized. So the entire string is capitalized. So each word is start with a capital letter and followed with a small lowercase letters. Now this is a method. If you want to create a substring from this string, so this string is having some different characters. I want to get one substring from this string. So I'm giving an index to start from 2. So this is my 120 point something. So I am starting from 2 index. Here we can see that 120. So the total string is starts from second index. 0 and first index is got removed. After that, this is a complete one substring. Substring from index will starts whatever the index is specified. From that index to the rest of the string will be a new string. And I have another method. Another string is having substring with range. So range is like you can specify for which location you have to start and how many characters we want as a substring. So from this string, it should start from 0th location and maximum total number of characters are 6. If you observe here, from the main string, it took 6 characters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 characters. The total length of the string is 6 characters, and which started from the 0th location character from the string. So we created a substring with specifying a range, or we created a substring by giving a specific index from which it needs to start a new substring. And if I want to get a specific character at a specific index, so I can use a method character index and I can display here. Here we can do that. So for every step here, for every operation, so this NSString creates a new memory address. It won't reuse any memory which is already created for the string reference. So this is about NS strings. We have many more methods, and like comparing one string to another string, checking that either the two strings are equal strings or not. If I want to check str is equal to string, this is one of the string comparison. Equal strings. Not equal. I'm checking that the value which is referred by the str is equivalent to welcome or not. If both are equal strings, then this will get executed, this statement. If fails, then this will get executed. We can use method like equal strings. So, and this is the way like usage of some methods in NSString. For each method will do some operation. So we have to explore NSString.h file. What are the methods are available? What we can do with these methods? Where we are going to utilize these operations. And when coming to this NS mutable string. So NS mutable string is a subclass of string. Here if you see, I am not assigning the return value to anywhere. So I'm creating a string object. I'm setting one string. So whatever the memory address is referred by the str, the same memory address will be updated with value, and I'm displaying that. So later I'm concatenating, appending the string. So to the existing high is there. For that high, I'm appending 123. So high 123 is the total string value which stored in the str1, and we are displaying that. So when it's coming to mutable string, so the mutable string, so as I said, like, let's see that what is mutable string. So here if you observe the difference between immutable operations and immutable operations, for every string operation, the return value we are assigning to another reference. Means the return value is storing a different memory address. Because of that reason, to refer that memory address, we are assigning to some reference. But here, every value change will automatically updated in the address which referred by that object, since it is a mutable. So as I said, mutable allows the modifications. So here str1, now it is having some memory address. The same memory address, the value will be updated with high. The same memory address we are appending. So now we can see the character change. So I am displaying that. We have not assigned, so we have not done something like which we did in nesting. So this is what we did in nesting, but we no need to reassign, because this do the modification within the same address which this object is referred. So this is the basic difference between ns mutable strings and ns strings. And the operations we can see some of the most reusable operations, like appending strings or removing the white spaces or replacing one character with another character, or else converting to lowercase, uppercase or capitalized, or creating substrings from the strings based on the range or from the index, or substring to index or from index, or checking like equal strings or not. And one more thing, like we have another method like comparing two strings, which one is higher or which one is lower. So there are many more methods which are available in nesting. So we'll see that based on that step by step procedure. But this is the basic usage of ns strings. Here if you observe how to convert one data type to string data type, this is integer to string. So if I want to get back my integer value, I can get the integer value str int value. Integer is different from int, because int is 2 bytes, integer is 4 bytes, because ns integer is a API class from objectveC. Int is a primitive data type from C language. Here we're converting an integer as a string changed. So if you want to get that value as an integer value, you can use int value. So this is the basic implementation of a ns string. You have seen that finding. So in C language there is no method directly to find the length of characters of a string, but here in objectveC we have a methods, but it internally follows the same concept. So this is about strings, and you can do more practice on strings, like by using different methods which ns strings are having. Is there any questions?